do we do this? So I just talk and play, and you capture the image from here, and I don't need to do anything, right? Sure. I think we're live as well, so we should probably not discuss any very sensitive information on this call right now. uh, okay, good. Let's proceed from there. Hello, everyone. There's been a bit of a hiccup, but I think we resolved it. So let me just arrange all the chats, and then we can get to the important business of playing bad chess poorly and slowly and badly. Um, Whoa, that is somehow very large on my screen. Uh, Almost done. Hang on a sec. Um, there are too many things on my screen right now. Uh, Almost done. Almost done. Jesus, why do what? Where did things go? Where did things go? And now it's also telling me that my internet connection is unstable, which would be a glorious way to do this. What now? Where's the chat? What happened there? Yeah, I think maybe I should just play chess and kind of ignore all you wonderful people, because trying not to ignore you is leading me into all kinds of weird nooks and crannies. Uh, yeah, I got one chat up on screen. It's not the one I ideally would have wanted, but what to do? Challenges. We have challenges, so let's get to it. You must address chat 12 exclamation marks. Well, if you say so, VB Cardinal. Clearly, I cannot disobey somebody who uses 12 exclamation marks. It's never the YouTube chat, Andre. I'm ashamed to say I'm probably more a creature of Twitch chat these days than the home chat on chess24. But anyway, why is this happening to me? No Sveshnikov for you, Mr. Florent Guillot. This is a kind of a Sicilian that people have been playing more and more with the white pieces these days, I think. Magnus is, yeah, this is probably a little bit too slow because I've allowed DD5 here. I probably should have done something else. This is annoying. How am I supposed to react to this? This position with white already having castled long is actually quite playable for white, but obviously with the king still only one, there is absolutely no chance of us being even remotely better. We shouldn't be worse, though, just yet, I assume. Question mark, question mark. This transposes two positions. I think I even played this position with the black pieces at least once in my life, but obviously not with the pawn on a3, with the pawn on a2, and white, of course, would like to play something like bishop d3 here and already have bishop d3, bishop b4 in place. I think I had this against Mickey. And yeah, with the bishop already on d3, this is actually quite an unpleasant position for black, I believe. But this version where black is just basically a full tempo up compared should be completely fine for my opponent. Queen a5 is kind of a clever little move, helping me, I think, establish, okay, I blundered queen c4, but I do have b3, so it's not that bad. And then the queen will still have to go to somewhere like c8, after which we can at least hope to assume some control in the center. Uh, these kind of squares for the white queen, like a5 here, are often quite useful. What chat is he reading? Try to figure it out, Maxi Boxy. It's a puzzle, I know, but it's not a puzzle that is completely impossible to figure out. Uh, a6. I don't actually mind a6, honestly. Uh, might be, although I should still be a little bit better. Queen b6 kind of forces rook b8, and then I want to play bishop d5, and then assume control over the d file and just have this kind of nagging pressure. Randomly, and also I generally try to accept challenges from usernames I don't recognize. Dangerous ride. I don't know if I'm supposed to take on c6. It's possible to take on c6 and then not blunder the pawn on a3 by playing rook a5, but it's also possible just to postpone this trade for a move. And yeah, play this position. I suspect I probably should have spoiled his pawn structure though, because now he kind of gets to come out of the corner a little bit. Only a little bit though. Bishop a7, rook bd8 is one thing I definitely need not to blunder. It's very important, obviously, for me not to allow him to unpin himself here. And trading a3 for g7, I think I should be reasonably happy with. Yeah, h5 I quite like. I think that's very reasonable by my opponent. I still need to figure out a way to deal with this rook d8 tactic. Protecting the rook on d1 might be a decent first step. And this is a bit of a trick, yeah, because now he doesn't actually have rook d8, and we get to take on b7 next move. Yes, he does get to recapture, but actually I have a cute little tactic here, maybe. I don't know if it's that good, because honestly, I'm a little bit worried he just takes on c4, takes on b4, and then winning that position with an extra piece will not be all that easy. That actually doesn't help, I thought. And now the b pawn survives, which is a huge big deal. I think the fact that the b pawn survives is much more important than the fact that the bishop could have survived there. Yeah. Congratulations to those of you brave people who actually, apparently, there are some people who picked me to get to the semis. I would not have picked myself to get to the semis, which only goes to show how useless I am at all things fantasy chess. I should return to it though. Why must I lose? It feels like a cop out to never return to it. But there are just so many things on my sort of a waiting list in terms of reading that I just find it extremely difficult to. I wish I knew why this isn't really supposed to be all that great. Like, nobody actually plays c5 in this position very much these days, but I am very hard pressed to say why. Doesn't really look all that horrible at all. This does look a bit slow, though. I would have wanted to play knight c6 here in my opponent's shoes. This does give me like maybe time to prepare queen e2, queen e4. Andre is a very, very gifted chess player in Iguito. Going further than that is guesswork. It's just like it's so unscientific that it's, I think, mainly completely pointless to speculate. Queen e4, queen f5 is like, I'm better there, but I would like more. How do we get more though? cd4. We can start with queen e4 maybe. The point here was that actually there is no point because he can still play queen f5. I assumed I will be able to take and play d5, but my bishop on d3 is hanging, so I'm not actually winning a piece where I thought I was winning a piece, which is a bit embarrassing, honestly. I should still play this, but actually maybe I shouldn't have even played this because bishop f6 now is extremely annoying. Yeah, this is not a very good sequence by me, honestly. Very few things about that sequence were right. And I have to make a very miserable move like bishop d2 because I couldn't really find a way to sacrifice the pawn on c3 in any kind of a good fashion. And now after knight a5, I'm beginning to think I might even have to fight for equality against good play. b6 is also not bad, like knight a5, bishop a6 comes quite quickly here. I'm wondering if I'm even supposed to take like dc and play that position, honestly. Like everything else feels even more miserable than this. This is not, I'm not a happy camper doing this, but maybe I should have played h4, but I was worried I will blunder bishop b7. I need to have the rook on e8 protected to not blunder bishop b7 here, but this allows g5. And g5 is extremely awkward here. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Ding. That's also completely missed. Rook d6 even existed. That's kind of doubly stupid. I did not think that pawn could have been challenged. I can sort of protect it on c7, I thought, maybe. Yeah, even that is not true. I'm also down on the clock. Yeah, this game is going about as poorly as can be expected. With such a poor pilot. Bishop takes c3, I'm not that worried for some reason. I did find this tactical shot. I don't know if it's any good, though. Like rook c7, knight g4 is my intention here, but there is rook c6, which I missed originally. And black is probably completely fine, maybe even better than fine. He does need to calculate precisely there. The thing is, rook c6 is sort of the only move in the position, so it's difficult not to make it. Yeah, I think I'm just much worse, honestly. This is kind of annoying because he has rook e6 and then the king runs out. We will still drive it to h5 and then start pretending we have mating threats. But the issue with that is that we don't actually have mating threats, which is kind of unfortunate. And bishop b7 is coming extremely fast. Like, I have to bluff here, but the thing is, like, I also have a feeling that I'm being listened to, which is maybe a bit unfair, but, stream sniping is I think I have a very beautiful mate now. Should have played f4. If he goes bishop b7 here, I have a very beautiful mate. Uh, yeah, I'm obviously kidding about the stream sniping, but the moment I stopped voicing out the best moves of my opponent, he made, I think, the one mistake he made in this game. I think this game was very well played by my opponent, apart from the opening. The opening I didn't much like, but starting from a certain point onwards, I felt like I was just being outplayed. But yeah, that was a very, very cute mating construction in the end there. For sure. Why am I playing knight f6 exactly? I never play knight f6 in this position. That's weird. I am not a Scheveningen player. I am not and never have been an actual Scheveningen player. I think we can even go d5 here, but bishop b5 annoys me, so I'm going to refrain from that. This is some very, very old theory now after Castle's Long, yeah, which I spent inordinate amounts of time studying this when I was much younger, uh, basically with both colors. It's a very, very interesting position to look at. I'm not sure about h5. You normally don't play h5 in these structures because it might turn out to be quite difficult to shift this setup. But maybe the new computers just like this somehow. Doesn't really look very natural to me. But maybe just rook g1 and maybe it turns out that it's very difficult to stop, much more difficult than I originally thought. Not how I used to play this with white when I was playing these positions with white, definitely. But that doesn't really mean this is bad. Might be just very good, actually. Yeah, might just maybe I should have just allowed h6. Maybe my kind of instant knee-jerk reaction of kind of biting and playing h6 was a mistake. Bishop b2 might be the only good move in the position, but it's just very good. Yeah, this is a lot more annoying than I originally thought. Like, hugely annoying. And by annoying, we generally mean kind of mating by force here. I'm very, very close to just getting mated here, and my b4 counterplay is just not going to be fast enough. I will develop some counterplay, but I just don't think it gets there. I have to play f6 because otherwise some kind of rook takes g7 might be made at any point. 6 is an extremely ugly move to make. And also, yeah, I think I've misplayed it many a time already in the very, very short space of short time period. Because I have to create some counterplay connected with b5, b4. Why is this? This is not needed. I mean, this is a cute move, but I just don't think white needs to do this. And it, in a way, it slows down my opponent's attack for him because it's now going to be slightly more difficult for him to play h6 because the rook will be hanging. I'm also not sure I cannot take, but I'm not planning to take. I'm planning to start my own things. Why not queen f6, then rook dg1, and how do we protect g7? Maybe, but didn't really feel like an improvement to me. Right. Yeah, just move the rook back is solid advice, honestly, Cardinal. But first off, people aren't normally very happy to take back their decisions. This is extremely ambitious by my opponent. Did he not see that the rook is hanging? This is very weird. This is mightily ambitious by my opponent. Like, it might still be working out somehow on some kind of a... Yeah, I think this is a mistake now because, like, he's 2 moves away from giving mate, but the rook on g1 is hanging. I'm also threatening queen b2, queen b1. And yeah, this is not going to be fast enough, I'm pretty sure. I normally prefer 3+0, but it doesn't really much matter. It's not going to be a long session. I think I'm supposed to do like 90 minutes. We started a bit late, so it might go like closer to an hour and 45, but not much longer than that because I'm honestly quite beat after the legends, and also this household has been a hot mess for a while with the filing of applications and things. Applying for higher education turns out it's quite tricky. Who knew? Yeah, this is not going to be great. Yeah, I could have just taken on g6. I'm kind of slightly upset the game is continuing, honestly. Taking on g6 wasn't a yeah, let's not blunder mate in 3 here, right? I was actually about to lose the game there for a second by playing queen c... Well, maybe not lose because I still have rook f7 there. But I almost played queen c5 there, which would have been a bit embarrassing. What higher? Yeah, I am sort of. Well, I don't actually have formal higher education, unsurprisingly, but I've graduated from the University of Life or some bullshit. Uh, my kids, on the other hand, turn 18 tomorrow, and they definitely do need higher education. Why is this game still ongoing? It's taking up valuable time. Hmm. No, my kids aren't future cricket stars, sadly. We're in the wrong country for that. I'm not that snippy, but I was like two rooks up in a position where white has no threats, and I had like a minute and a half left. So I think I'm entitled to some disgruntlement. I understand my position was probably bad at some point, but it was never like completely and utterly lost. It's not as if I continued playing past the point where it was becoming embarrassing for me. Uh, so it feels to me like, continuing two full rooks down when you're not even really threatening to give a check is, for somebody rated 2752 who clearly understands how the position is evaluated there, it's not really very difficult to figure out. Uh, uh, I normally don't mind people not resigning, but there was a very strong player who played well for the first 25 moves and then blundered some tactics. I understand it's probably not very pleasant, but mm, the position that was continually being played in the end there seemed not very interesting. Bishop d7 is very normal here, but I'm wondering if I'm supposed to play bishop b6 actually, kind of giving the option of taking on e6 if white wants, because I think with the dragon bishop on g7, okay, now it's getting traded off, but I don't really mind. I think it's fine. Queen a5 doesn't really feel critical, but I kind of want to try and stop 92, knight f4, at least for the time being, make it slightly more difficult for white to achieve that. And we, of course, want to play something like knight c6, e5, rook a8, and so on. Maybe I shouldn't have allowed f4, though. But yeah, I will play. Actually, will I? No, I think I'll start with rook a8 because 95 queen d4 was bugging me a little bit. Yeah, now the big question is, can we actually take on b2? He does have rook b1, rook takes b7 in reply, which is probably good. So I'm not gonna do that. I could play e5 here, f5, knight d4. That sharpens the position up a little bit, which I think is uh, something we should all be, generally speaking, in favor of. I completely missed queen g5 existed, which is remarkably stupid. Just completely missed this square was on the chessboard. Had I seen this was a possibility, I would not have played what I played. I think I might still be, fine-ish for a given value of fine-ish. But yeah, it's going to be touch and go now. Queen g4 might be just winning on the spot, honestly. Yeah, that was like I completely ruined the position, which was completely fine in like 3 moves. Huh. Just resigns, I guess, is the way to go here. Um, yeah, if you thought I was sneaky before, I will be a little bit sneaky after this effort. This is a disgusting played game of chess I just played. How did it not even occur to me that Queen G5 existed? Bizarro world. No, no, no. I don't like. I'm not serious about the stream sniping. It's it's a meme more than anything else. I really am not a stream sniping truther. I don't like Queen takes B7. I think this is a mistake, honestly. I think you should have played Queen G4 back. And now the position is surprisingly not that easy to win. Uh, I think it might not even be winning specifically. Is this a mating threat? I don't think it is. Yeah, that doesn't actually do anything. That only gives my king further. What? No. Okay, we lucked out quite badly in that game. Uh, who, me? No, I don't live in the US. I've moved basically my entire lifetime movements from place to place amount to like one floor down and then one floor back up. Uh, I like this username. It's a sentiment I very, very much share right now. Yeah, that was a well played game by my opponent. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. I, on the other hand, well, until he ran short of time. I, on the other hand, have done many, many things wrong in that game we just watched. Do you think he'd speak English that well if he lived in the US? Shots fired. I don't think it's impossible. Yeah, sadly, Why Must I Lose has seemingly given up hope and is not here, which is very regrettable. I wanted to check if I must lose to this. I must lose as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Apologies. Yeah, I understand, beginner, that there is definitely often uh, some demand for me to play the lower rated people as well, but this being a slightly shorter banter than usual, I think I'm a little bit more incentivized. Uh, okay, I might do it again then. Why must I lose? That's weird. I haven't really seen that happen before. The link not working. Uh, when I have like 2.5 hours normally, like my banters normally run a bit longer, and when you have 2.5 hours, you can dedicate like an hour of that to playing people in the, I don't know, 15 to 1900 range, or maybe even go below that, and talk to chat and just chill. But when it's a slightly rushed uh, banter, there seem to be glitches with accepting the challenge, because this one is also not starting. Maybe people like I've deliberately tried choosing some people who have sent challenges some time ago, and maybe people who have done it like an hour ago by this point did not think it's happening. But yeah, we can't really wait forever for people to actually show up. Whoops. Uh, I don't know. This move order, like obviously it's no big deal, but normally there's no real reason for people to allow the Maratsi setups when you can just as well not allow the Maratsi setups, right? And yeah, if you still follow it up with knight f6 on move 5, there's really, I think, no reason to start with knight c6 there. This is a move that requires some thought because like you want to play f4, but allowing knight g4 is a little bit awkward. So I will spend the tempo on h3. There's a lot of good books on those shelves. BBBB. It's very difficult to pick one. And music wise, I'm actually planning to just get rid of everything that's on that CD shelf behind me because I don't even, in all honesty, know how to play those things anymore. Actually, f4 may be a little bit over optimistic here because knight goes to d7, then he goes bishop b7, knight c5, and uh, I like the. We can have a conversation about elitism. It's uh, it's an interesting accusation. I hear it more and more. Uh, the implication there, as I understand it, Aaron, is that uh, let me, how shall we phrase it? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to phrase it properly. Like one way to describe it would be when I'm playing people of higher rating, the games tend to be closer, and there's generally more things to talk about, which I think is not necessarily all that elitist. It's just true. And having actual chess topics to discuss is definitely one part of what makes these shows interesting, from what I understand uh, from talking to people. But mainly, it's a question of priorities. I definitely don't think I insulted anyone. That's seemingly an offshoot of, you know, people do tend to find insult these days in all kinds of unlikely places. I said that because we have less time today. I'm more incentivized to play high rated challenges. That I think is a literal quote of what I said. I would be interested to know how that is insulting to anybody. But yeah, the whole elitism topic is clearly something that can be have, we all can have decent amount of fun with, or not, as the case may be. I don't know why I'm playing this, honestly, because I don't really know the Volga. I don't really know the Benoni. Like none of the things I can play starting from here, come under the heading of something I understand. So it's not immediately obvious to me why I ended up in this position, if I'm honest with myself. But here we are now. This is probably taking it a little bit too much. Like I'm worried about blundering knight b5 somewhere before I play knight d7, but this is probably taking things a little bit too slowly. Yeah, this is like I'm still a few tempi short of actually thinking I'm even somewhat safe. I really don't want to play knight f6, but I might have to. It's annoying. Takes, bishop h6. I think I can still get away with going knight f5 and bishop e5, but that's very annoying. And if I go knight e5 here, he goes bishop e2, and then f4 is a huge threat. Yeah, none of this is great. But I genuinely feel like I might have to go for this instead. Maybe I can go bishop e7 and still survive after rook e1 check. I'm very surprised he doesn't go rook e1 check here. I think kind of giving me time to establish my knight on d4 is a mistake. Seems like I have upset more people. This is going splendidly. Bishop c3, I mean, b4 is attractive. B takes c4 is also reasonably fine. This knight on d4 is a monster. We can start picking up some material even with knight e2 check, I suspect. I'm not sure if I can take on b2 though, because there's going to be a pin on the e-file. I assumed I would be able to, but that might actually not be true at all. Maybe bishop h4 is an annoying move to face. Just on general grounds, stops rook e1, pretends we have a threat for bishop g3 check. Rook f3 is a good reply though. Yeah, that was a fishing expedition which landed me absolutely nothing. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not even sure how much better I am now. Well, okay, we're about to lose on time, so I'll have to improve the clicking a little bit. We're still a bit better, but I guess white actually defends this position. I should have played queen g3 instead. Don't know what that is. I guess it's a flagging attempt, which is fine. Yeah, I wouldn't mind an automated system at all. But such as it is, I I think it's I think it's generally random enough to not say it's not fair, but obviously my opinion here is in the minority seemingly. Yeah, the two a3 4h4 game in the Nepo Gelfand match was fun to watch, and he was actually even doing quite well for a bit. I saw the tweet which implied that he got punished for his sins, which is sort of true, but also not entirely true, because I think somewhere around move 10, Jan's position was perfectly fine, and then it went downhill again. We're supposed to fight against some kind of d7, d5 plans here, but I don't think they're possible just yet, so I'm going to pretend they aren't. 97 annoys me. But maybe I can still go f3, and if he goes d5, we take, play e5. Immediate d5 I did not really consider properly. Maybe I should have. Yeah, that's a good way to play here. I'm not sure, like cd5, 97, 95. 97, 95 in general is what's happening here. And I don't generally have a good reply to it. But I thought taking one pair of knights off might be... Well, knight d5 I also completely missed. That might be even stronger. Yeah, I think I'm not even remotely better here. I think we should probably kind of deal with the damage a little bit. Yeah, completely fine for black. We shouldn't be worse, but we probably... Yeah, I mean, if anybody is worse, it's white here. But probably not just yet. Probably not just yet, because the pin on the f3 b7 diagonal is still kind of keeping me afloat. But rook d7, rook f d8 is quite unpleasant. Yeah, I actually have to pay kind of good care not to land in a very unpleasant position here. We should probably aim to trade queens without blundering some knight f4. Something like this, I guess. Intending to play queen d4 or knight c3 if I'm allowed to. In particular, after a6, of course, we go knight c3. Whoa, this is not what I expected. This is the first move my opponent played in this game, which I disagree with. Up until that point, I thought he was playing... I mean, perfectly is a very strong word, but I really, really liked how my opponent was playing up until that point. But rook a8 just doesn't feel right. I think you're always supposed to play rook f d8. Just play actively. The challenge list it's difficult to judge exactly, but I see 3 challenges per page, and it's like 20-ish page downs long. So I would estimate around 50. It seems like I'm suddenly winning material here, which is undeserved. Yeah, the whole, I kind of promised I will do commentary for this event starting from the quarterfinals. That kind of backfired because there are no quarterfinals, as was immediately pointed out to me. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes from here. Anish actually showed me some things yesterday in the Grunfeld, which I wouldn't say it never happens, but it doesn't happen often enough, I think, that I see things that kind of genuinely surprise me and impress me. That line will probably need to be repaired a little bit because what he played against me in game two was kind of scary. I think we're supposed to just take on d5 here. I think this is fine. She takes d5 is a very rare move. I don't think it poses too many problems. Yeah, this is clearly a very, very nice version of positions you normally get in this line. I think I can even take on d4 here, but we don't need to hurry with it. I think just developing going rook fd8, rook ac8, and then rounding it up later. Anish plays everything, but he also just knows everything. He is, at this point, it's not that I'm surprised that he knows more openings than me. That is really hasn't been a surprise in quite some time. It's specifically when he catches me out in reasonably rare and also sort of quote unquote officially harmless lines of the Grunfeld that I get slightly upset. Because that's not where I expect to be caught out. Yeah, probably I should have taken on d4 when I started talking about it first. It's a lot more awkward now. Requires calculating. I really dislike calculating. But I think I can still do it because bishop f3, I have queen d7, which is very important. Only when I realized I have queen d7 there that I decided that I will still take on d4. Yeah, the whole topic of Anish being a draw master and boring is, I mean, people who still somehow hang on to that narrative haven't really been watching top level chess for the past 3 years, I think. It may have been true at one point. It most assuredly isn't true anymore. This is maybe a little bit unnecessary. I don't know why I'm giving up on b7, but there's probably enough tempo gain after he takes on b7, if he takes on b7, for me to justify it. Yeah, but if he doesn't take on b7, I think I'm very happily not going to give him that opportunity again. Let's just play b6. I mean, g4 actually wins the pawn on d3, so to speak. Yeah, I missed bishop b4. That's actually that's not annoying because bishop. And now I miss bishop takes f5. I'm going slightly blind here. I think the whole elitism discussion may have shaken my equilibrium a little bit. Yeah, that was not supposed to happen. That pawn should still have been alive. And I thought I can play something like rook e8 and then rook c2 or rook e2, but the fact that the queen on b6 protects the pawn on f2 makes that less attractive. Well, I mean, some context is needed with a statement like that, Aaron. I made a draw in what was probably like a plus 10 position against Kramnik in game 4 in the Legends because it would win me. Did I just blunder the pawn on d3 again? The hell am I doing here? That blunders a rook as well. Yeah, the ending of this game is a snafu of the absolute highest quality. Yeah, I mean, that's a kind of a nice draw for. I appreciate the gesture by my opponent. I was like, I, I realize this is a Zoom call, and I don't know if I can actually show you lines on the board, but if maybe I can, somewhere around here, I'm just a healthy pawn up, and there's absolutely no reason for me to lose the d3 pawn or the b6 pawn. Yeah, rook takes b2 is impossible because if I take on b2, I think I can show this, right? I hope I can show this. Rook d8 check, king f6, queen d4 check, queen, king g7 and king f6. I almost played this, but then I realized there's rook g8 check in the end, winning the queen. Yeah, nobody can. Yeah, I assume nobody could see what I was doing, but maybe you can follow if I name the moves. Anyway, that was. I appreciate the gift of some rating in the end there by my opponent because I think I was getting flagged as well as being outplayed. He didn't have to do that, and I am thankful. Yeah, after queen f6, there is rook g8 check, Paolo. That's exactly what I was trying to explain. There's rook g8 check there, deflecting the king, and we'll lose the queen. Knight f3 is not supposed to be particularly threatening in this particular edition. And I understand I've noticed I used the word particular twice in that sentence, which is not particularly good English. Probably, if white could play bishop c4 in the previous position, he, I suspect, should have, because that bishop on e2 is now going to be a little bit passive, and it's going to be much harder for white to get his pieces to good squares. I mean, this is extremely solid what my opponent is doing here, but it's not very ambitious. Rook takes c3 already exists as a move, but I don't think I need to hurry with it. We can go bishop e7 and castles, and if my opponent continues giving me this opportunity, I will eventually take on c3. Maybe I could have taken on c3 here because I think my opponent now plays queen d2. It's just very difficult not to play queen d2 in this position. What else do you play? And then hang on a second. There's bishop takes h6 there in the end. That kind of disincentivizes me from taking on c3. I don't know. There are many kind of quote unquote improving moves I can make. b5 is maybe not even one of them. I'm not sure I'm supposed to push b5 in the structure because it gives white something to play against on the queen side. Yeah, I still don't really agree with that statement. I think it's not relevant to the way he currently plays. May have been relevant at some point, but don't know. don't know that it is anymore. That's exactly my point. Like uh, things that may have been true, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, and clearly aren't true anymore, shouldn't really be pushed as objective facts. I'm already very tempted to go for something in the center. Knight g4 is actually quite attractive as well, but I think d5 works. And just as is the case will be in most Sicilian positions, if d5. Hang on a second. If I go g5, e d5, knight d5, knight takes e5, bishop g5 is bad, but he has knight g3, and knight g3 is not a bad move at all in that position. Maybe I should do this instead. What are your favorite adventure games? That's a very nice specific question. And like the question, like the answer I have in my mind is going to be very insulting to Vasily, because my favorite adventure games are actually two games he lost to Artur Yusupov in their 1991 candidate match. Like there were some very, very nice games in the classical portion, but then I think in the rapid playoff, Artur won two games, one with white and one with black, which are, in my opinion, like absolute classics, like definitely some of the best chess ever played. Fantastic attacking chess. Just unbelievably good by Artur, both of them. Sadly, there's no mate. I kind of expected there to be mate, and now there is mate, but if he played Rook E2 there wouldn't have been mate. What's the favorite game that I lost? Huh. It's a difficult one. I lost a decent amount of good games, but it's hard to pick one. I can definitely like make a short list of the games that are sort of the most painful of the ones I lost in my life, but uh best is such a difficult word to quantify. Yeah, Tricky is king. Yeah, I mean he is an absolute legend, one of the most, interesting and unusual people on the circuit. Another line I don't really have much clue about. Yeah, that's the one that I actually kind of thought about Filipino. But it's such a well publicized story that I felt like, if I go into that story again, people will accuse me of not having better stories, and they will be correct. So it seems Ding doesn't calculate and just pretends to calculate. I don't think that's true. Something clearly is not working as intended with Ding right now, but I don't know if it's that simple. I have a feeling like what I'm doing is attractive on the surface, but could just be completely wrong, honestly. I I genuinely don't understand this structure. It is such a tricky structure to play. And for somebody like me who has like pretty much zero Benoni experience and very, very little Zamish experience in the King's Indian, it is just so confusing to figure out which structures I'm supposed to go for, which pieces I'm supposed to trade. Was I supposed to take on d3 there with the knight or not? all these kinds of questions, which probably to a proper King's Indian player, like somebody like Temur Rajabov, for instance, or Hikaru, or people from earlier eras like Kasparov or Fischer, if we go earlier than that, they would just look at that position and the question would be instantly obvious to them. But for me, I get so lost in the minute details of positions like this. Yeah, I'm starting to think you are just disturbed by very, very many things, Aaron. I'm probably like I probably should go the way I should have gone in the beginning and not get baited. Because honestly, like starting with the fact that I don't actually hate my system, and I'm very much on the record as somebody who grew up with the book, and we spoke about this so much on the show that I'm pretty sure you're misstating my attitude on purpose. I don't like it as much as I liked it when I was 10, which is also a fact, but doesn't really equate with hate. Biggest regret of the chess career probably has to be not winning the second World Cup. Of the things that were sort of realistic, overall, you have to say that not playing the World Championship match, and I think that ship has sailed. So we can, I think, safely say that my career will not include a World Championship match. But of the things that were realistically possible, blowing a 2-0 lead in Baku is probably the biggest one. That probably shouldn't be how people play this, because you are now playing what amounts to be a normal dragon, but with a one tempo down and the pawn on e6, which means that the pawn on d6 is just very weak. It's possible to mix dragon with other systems, but not the Scheveningen. We're on very good terms with Nigel, but we don't see each other really anywhere near often enough these days. But we still talk, and we've had a polite exchange of views on the topic of the England cricket team selection recently. I could have taken this pawn, but I think keeping the king on e8 is much more relevant here. And now we just win a queen with a discovered check. Uh, against Magnus, do you mean? Win lost. Lol, Nigel versus Peter, the longest conversation ever. Yeah, we do tend to be quite verbose. I don't generally disagree. I am playing some lower ratings. The thing is, like, I did not really feel like I need to announce my intentions here, but I am playing a lot more of the lower rated games today than I normally would. I think against h3 you're supposed to play knight c6 and the pawn sacrifice line is not as strong. I'm wondering if knight b7 is also good here, bishop d7. There are so many ways of dealing with this. Like I'm much more familiar with bishop b2 in this position than h3. I'm pretty sure I can play knight c6 here, but like the bigger question is, do I need to? Let's go knight d7. Yeah, this is probably the reason why knight c6 was a better choice. This is still a playable position, but it's not what I wanted to get out of the opening, honestly. Every piece is on the board, though, so we're not that disappointed. One player from the past you wish you could have played, probably Tal. I just generally would very much like c3, c4 here is quite strong. I'm surprised he just very quickly decided not to play c4 there. I think I'm going to take that opportunity away just to make sure I never have to think about it again. We're still not better, but we're kind of safe-ish here because it's much harder for him to actually land that knight on d5. If my opponent is kind of trying to force me to go knight h5, I will go knight h5. I have watched bits and pieces of it, Void Chess Club, but not a full stream at any point. I'm sure they're doing well. Like all three of them are very entertaining people in their own right, and that collab should be quite good. Like I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Do I think Tal would still be relevant today with all the engines? That's an interesting question, but very hard to answer. I don't think his play was as incorrect as all that, so I think he probably would be. And you know, his games would still spark a lot of conversation, but I understand where you're coming from with the question. It's a valid question. I think it's quite obvious that, you know, the one thing that improved the most. I don't know why I played b5. There were so many other ways of sort of simpler conversions here. All of this is very, very suboptimal, I think. But yeah, obviously, many of the things Tal has done would be a lot harder to pull off today with people having much better understanding of you know, where the defensive thresholds are. I think this is probably the way to go here. Queen e1 is still kind of sort of keeps the game afloat, but not really. Yeah, I've seen this question before, Rishabh. I'm kind of ignoring it because I don't generally know the answer, so I can't really help you there. And it's such a rabbit hole to even start discussing that question. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still an extremely playable style in the shorter time controls. L 1189. Yeah, ultra aggressive, ultra tactical style of play is something that people still very much do in Rapid and Blitz, and it still pays off. This is, you know, let's say I think it's very close to what Jan is currently doing. I actually decided to scroll through much of the list to see how many of these sub 1500 challenges I have, and I can report the results to you, kind people. Either I have successfully insulted much of the chess24 fan base, and people are just leaving in droves, or I don't actually get very many of those challenges. I would prefer to think it's the second, because really my intention wasn't to insult anyone. I thought and continue to think that entertainment provided by closer games is something valuable, but I very, very much misjudged did not read the room properly, clearly, with my statement. Wojciech has just one Beal. We thought we only had one super strong people. That's a strange statement to me, honestly. Jichu, because I mean Radek has been around for ages, and not considering Radek a very strong player is like not in my universe. In my universe, he has always been an extremely strong player. I have the utmost respect for Radek as a chess player. So, like, to me, those results are perfectly natural. I wasn't surprised, and I'm happy for him. I quite like him as a person. I really want to play b5, but on every move so far, white had e5 as a reply. But I think this is probably the first time I can play it without feeling like I'm doing something wrong, because e5 bishop b7 now is quite good for black, and I'm under much less threat of blundering some kind of bishop b5 tactics now that one of the knights is on b3. What happened to Peter Arch? I thought he was going to be a legend. Yeah, he was very highly thought of. He won the World Juniors and everything, and then somehow disappeared, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Once again, I'm basing this on nothing in particular, but I have a feeling he was quite a smart guy and probably chose a career in something non-chess related after maybe not getting as far along in chess as he maybe would have liked. Yeah, people don't quit chess cold turkey. I think it's very likely he still plays chess in some capacity, and I mean he clearly was quite good at some point. There can be no doubt about that. Like I can take on h4 here to make the game slightly more fun, but I think it's a little bit too much. Favorite tournament location? Probably London, because I just really, really like London. But I haven't played very much in London, honestly. I don't have too much experience of actually playing there. It's been enjoyable the few times I did play there, but I don't have very much uh, actual experience. But like of all the chess meccas, so to speak, well, let's say the hotspots of chess over the past, I don't know, 25 years. I mean, Monaco is fantastic, obviously, but Monaco is sadly no longer part of the calendar, which is very regrettable. Those were just unbelievably pleasant tournaments to play in. Baden is very nice, yeah. Baden is clearly a very, very nice place, very comfy place, and it does feel very much very much like home to play there. My attack is faster here. This is not going to go very well for my opponent. Uh, this just always gets there much faster than whatever it is that white is doing on the other flank. We stayed in, like, the last few years, we stayed in the Fairmont, I think, Bateman. That's a cute little mate there in the end with knight takes c4, mating the king on d2. But I don't, like, we moved around a little bit, but I think the last years were in the Fairmont. Lefong. People are clamoring for me to play Lefong. Let's see if I can find him. What's the username? Because I don't see it. At least not in the... Ah. no bullet. And yeah, I don't think I've seen a challenge from the magnet, so I'm just going to accept something else. I am Groot. Bullet declined. I have no time for Blitz. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about those two sentences strung together. Honestly, that seems like the opposite of how I approach chess these days. But I understand it's just because I'm an old fogey. I don't know why I'm playing this line. I have no idea what I'm doing, and also it's very, very dry. Yeah, good luck with that. And yeah, I will try to leave the seat warm, so to speak. But while mine is going on, yours seemingly is not on. So, like, if you have time for a 2-minute game, there might be time for a 5-minute game. But, like, once again, I'm not trying to make this happen such as it is. I'm just curious why you have such a strong preference for bullet. Am I blundering some kind of bishop h7 tactics? I don't think I am, but I'm very scared. Like bishop h7, knight g5 check. I don't think it works here, but it scares me quite a bit. And now my actual close personal friends are berating me for not reading Twitch chat, which I kind of genuinely tried arranging on my screen and then completely failed because I'm a boomer. I don't know why my opponent would play f4 here. Doesn't feel right. His position is probably not great anyway, but there's not going to be any attacking going on the king side. And what you do by playing f4 here is just unnecessarily weaken your king side further. It wasn't a conscious choice or a chess club, though. I very much wanted to have them side by side on my screen, but somehow it used to always work, and today I just couldn't get the resizing done properly, and things were popping up on my screen which were annoying me, so I gave up. My intention wasn't to choose either. Basically, I wanted both. I want it to be, what's the word? I wanted to say I wanted to be an egalitarian, but considering how this chat went earlier, I think very few people would believe me when I said that, right? Yeah, this sounded a little bit too passive aggressive, Lefong. I apologize for the quote unquote call out. It wasn't intended as a call out. I'm in a weird mood today, which has already gotten me into some hot water. And yeah, that I missed mate in one there, but mainly I'm just pre-moving because I don't quite understand why the game is going on. Um, yeah, honestly, I'm about like if this were a normal show, this would be the point where I would issue my usual not quite stern warning uh not to do too much of the me in chat. But today I just feel like, if I do one more thing to make this chat unhappy, I will just get uh, the regrets will kill me or some such. I'm not gonna miss two mates in one in a row though. I missed one already. It's one too many. Yeah, like exclamation mark throw. Nothing new. Uh, yeah, like I can go on, but if it's when is the Fong show? When does the next show start? Okay, yeah, I can play a few more. It's fine. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna hold you up too much, but that last game didn't really feel like the game we should be ending on. So, and seems like there's a lot of demand for King's Gambit, so maybe we can try getting that on. Legend says you always wanted to play me, says Mikhail Tal. Uh, that is exactly what the legend said on this show. Yeah, the most favorite part of this show is always me staring at something you guys can't see and scrolling. That's the best part. That was an exciting game, great game to end the stream. Yeah, very much so, which is why we're playing more. But yeah, there do seem to be quite a few of these games which don't progress further than me playing the first move. Where is everyone? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Nobody's here. I have successfully chased away everyone. I actually promised that live on air. So let's try this again. Come on. Not twice in one show. Come on. When is my next Twitch session? I said that I'm well, okay, good. Shall we? I had a very, very painful experience with this gambit recently. Was completely lost by move 10 with black. Let's see if that repeats itself again. Whoa, what? No. No, that come. Why? But this is just going to be a very short game now. Is it? Like, why would you do that? Like, why? I'm not gonna not play these moves. I I feel bad, but I'm still gonna play all these moves. Okay, I mean, I don't quite understand what happened there. No, but the thing is, if I don't play Queen H4 check there, I am kind of legitimately worse, I think. And yeah, like maybe I should have. Maybe that was a bit mean, but also, why do you pre-move E4 in that position? I guess that guy really wasn't Morphe. Yeah, probably not. What am I doing here? I really want to play G4. I keep on playing G4 in these types of positions and then being worse out of the opening. I should probably stop. But it's like a magnet somehow. Yeah, sorry about that. Why must I lose? That wasn't very edifying. Wasn't my intention, but really, you left me no choice. Yeah, next Twitch session, like once the legends are done, I'm planning on streaming a lot more regularly. B4 and day 4 now. Yeah, kind of. This knight belongs on G3. This is why you take with the bishop, I think, in these types of positions, because this knight on G3 supports the center and uh, helps me play G4, G5 without allowing knight H5, which is quite useful. Kind of feel like I should be playing for mate, but also rook d1 wins the pawn on d6, so I'm a little bit torn here. I think I have to play rook d1 and then see what happens. Yeah, I think I still prefer winning an actual game of chess where I played well from start to finish, Rishab. But obviously, you know, a well-executed swindle, in particular in shorter time controls, has its own attractions. H4, A4, B4. Yeah, we're getting there. A4 might never happen, but B4 could conceivably happen. It could be a good move next turn. Yeah, let's go. Give the people what they want, at least occasionally. This stream hasn't been a great success in that regard, but nothing's right. I'm torn. Exactly. Yeah. And I once told a story about that song live on air, in which I got so many details wrong that I was like acutely embarrassed. So I'm not going to try again. I I definitely have been to Turkey for sure. Yeah, I played in a number of tournaments in Turkey. Went on vacation to Turkey with the family once, but only once. It wasn't a very good experience, mainly because it was like for reasons not to do with the country. We just did some stupid things and got punished for them. Whoa, okay, I missed 98. It's not going to change the evaluation of the position, but the fact that I completely missed the 98 existed was a bit disturbing there. We're kind of wrapping up there, Diego. I don't know. I don't know about that. The show is about to run its course, I think. Yeah, I don't think Fortnite is on the menu. I don't know why it came up, but requires a little bit too much hand-eye coordination. Yeah, all the people telling me to accept the challenge from the magnet are somehow assuming there is a challenge from the magnet, which I don't think there is, as far as I can see. Okay, one last one, and that is going to be a very controversial choice, whichever way I go with it. So, but everybody likes pandas, right? It's very difficult to find people who don't like pandas. So nobody's going to flame me for choosing to play against a panda. I think I got to like top 400 legend one season. That's the highest I ever got. I don't think I played him once. Honestly, I didn't even remember that. I honestly didn't remember that username. But saying he always gets a game is a bit misleading, I think. What is the theory of this? I feel like I've stumbled into something I should not have been allowing at all. Yeah, I think you have been successfully outnamed, if that's a thing. I think I'm just in time to get my all my ducks in a row there on the queen side. I think I'm just in time to play rook b1, and then I shouldn't be getting mated, and then we can start doing something on the king side. But it's very touch and go. I think it's very, very possible I've misjudged this, and I do actually get mated here somehow. Don't quite see how though. I think this is a reasonably solid setup. If only Aaron had called himself Groovy Panda. Yeah, that would have been a very good first step. I don't think knight a4, and then something gives mate. I'm kind of proceeding under the assumption that there are no threats on the queen side, at least not immediately. I could be proven dramatically wrong somehow. d5 is more worrying, actually. Yeah. This I should have been paying more attention to. That rook probably should have been on d1 a long time ago. Yeah, this I mean, I can't even say I missed this because I sort of, what happened was I completely disregarded this as an idea. It didn't occur to me that I had to watch for it. Bishop f5. That's an interesting choice. Knight g3, I suppose he wants rook takes b2, which might even work. Yeah, that's a good move. I missed that. That is a good move. Rook hc1 is kind of playable, but very, very sad. I wonder if I can get away with going knight e4 here. I suspect I cannot, but like I really dislike everything else. So I'm going to give it a shot. I have a feeling now I'm actually getting mated. Also, if he just goes queen takes d5, he is better. So there's a number of things quite wrong with my position now, apart from the fact that something connected with, I don't know, c3 or rook b4, a4 or something might just be forced mate for all I know. I don't see it, at least not yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of forced mate available here for my opponent. Rook b5 is strange because I thought I can just put the second knight on c3 and then take, like, the threat was obviously queen takes a2 and rook a5 mate, but I'm not obliged to miss that. Maybe he just wants to play bishop b4 here. That would be very interesting. Rook b3. That I think is a little bit too fancy because I think I can actually take and then just not do anything here. Just ignore this now because it's very difficult to actually improve, put additional pressure on my queen side here. ba, I obviously never touch that pawn on a2 and I'd never get mated again. And bishop b4, fe, bishop takes d6 should be way too slow. I just can't see that being fast enough. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, bishop d8, but yeah, once again, there should be ways to just kind of stop whatever counterplay my opponent has here. I am returning some material here, but clearly that is fine. Now with the bishop on b6, we can safely play 3. Anyway, that probably is it for today. It's been an interesting experience. I don't think the actual chess was all that bad, but it's been an interesting new experience to have to fight with our own chat a little bit. Not an experience I'm very eager to repeat, honestly. So I'll have to do better. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. And tomorrow the legends resume with the semis. I will be playing from probably a different location, so you might get to see something instead of these bookshelves. Hopefully the internet there holds up. Would be a bit embarrassing to get to the semis only to have internet issues and not be able to play. Yeah, and on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.